Hi folks, it's Phil Tower here, and I am an urban farmer, and I'm supposing that if you're watching this video that you want to be an urban farmer as well. So I thought maybe what we could do is, I have videos out on hugelkultur beds, and I just thought I'd revisit that. But I thought maybe one of the best ways to approach this video is we'll just look at some of the things that we have going on here, and I'll show you some of the tools that I like to use in organic farming, and we'll just walk down through the property. And the last thing we'll take a look at today is the hugelkultur beds and what I've got planted in them this year and how they did last year, and then you can make a decision on whether that's a technique that you'd like to use. I have a whole list of things in my pocket, but as I look at it, I see that it would make too long a video. I don't want to waste your time all in one day. So let's just take a look at some of this stuff, and whatever we don't talk about, I'll make separate videos. Okay, so first we're at the very front of the property. The road is here and house is over there. You'll get to see some of the stuff as we progress down. Here's just a real simple idea. I built this planter. It has about probably about 12 inches of soil, composted soil, and I have my beans in here. These are scarlet runners. They produce a beautiful flower once it matures a little bit. And then all I did to the planter is I just fastened this. There's 2 pieces of cedar, and I drilled some holes in it, and each spring I run a new string. And then the beans, as they grow up, they climb the string, and then the beans come on. And some of the beans will eat fresh when they're young, and some of the beans I keep and replant for seed for next year, and some of the beans we can cook as baked beans. So these are really easy, simple. They come back all the time, and it's nice to have your own seed so that you're not buying seed in every spring. So this is nice and simple. Might be an idea for you to try. I know this works so well for me anyway, and this is a sunny location. The sun comes up in the east, so this gets lots of sun first thing in the morning. And yeah, so beans. Let's go on to the next project. Okay, here we have obviously rhubarb. Nothing special, but the thing that I like about rhubarb is that it is almost ready to be picked now, and this is the last day of May, and we're gardening on the east coast of Canada. So to have this be ready to pick now and eaten is kind of like the first stuff in spring we get a chance to eat. Now I normally save this rhubarb, and I keep it just growing here, and then we're going to see some haskap bushes that I have, and the haskap produces a small blueberry that's very nutritious, high in antioxidants. And normally what I will do is I will harvest the rhubarb, and when the haskap is fully ripened, I'll pick those, add them together, and I can make a puree, jams, jellies, that kind of thing. And it actually is very nice, and it's early in the spring. So those are 2 of my plants that provide us food, organic food, right at the first of the summer. So let's go to the next spot. Okay, so next I first I guess should explain to you that I am dressed in a kilt. That's kind of obvious. This is called a blacked out kilt, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous all wool kilt. I love it. Now, why am I wearing it gardening with black flies, mosquitoes, and ticks, and you know, we can make lots of jokes? Well, I'm wearing it because when I'm gardening, whatever I'm doing, or if I'm checking on some of my favorite tools, and I have to be down here to check to see what's going on in our cast iron Dutch oven, and I am about to cook off some bread for supper, and so I'm going to cook it out here So I've got it in here because the black pot draws the heat of the sun and it's raising my bread. So I will do a separate video of a lot of the favorite tools that I use in gardening, that I use when I'm foraging for food and medicine in the forest, when I'm camping, hunting, fishing, all those things. So the kilt, why would I wear a kilt when I'm outdoors? Well, I wear a kilt because when I am on the ground with my bare legs, or I'm going to take my sneakers off here in a minute and go in my bare feet, the planet vibrates at 7.83 hertz. It's like a radio frequency. The Earth produces both electromagnetic and magnetic currents. We have the North Pole and the South Pole, and everybody's aware of those things. One of the things that's really good when we're gardening, when we're camping, when we're outdoors, when we're cooking outside, is to get our shoes off so that our bare feet are touching the planet. That's the way our bodies developed 2 million years ago, and that's one of the main wellness points around providing yourself with better nutrition, less calories, better nutrition, organically grown food. Grounding yourself on the planet is another really important thing to do, and it's so easy when we're gardening. So a favorite tool, I'll show you how I rig this up. I can cook this bread off, or you know, bake a chicken, make a venison stew, doesn't matter. Whatever I want to cook, I can cook in this pot. It goes everywhere with me. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. This is just a lid lifter, by the way, and it has some legs. I'm going to do a video of how I'm going to bake the bread off, but I'll put that up separately. Essentially, really quickly, I can bake with coals. I just shovel coals onto the top and underneath of it, or I can have charcoal briquettes, and I light a bunch of them once they're going. I put 14 on top. This is a size 10 pot, and it's a lodge. So 14 on top and 7 underneath, and that will give me about 400 degrees for an hour. So it's easy to bake bread at 400 degrees, and it only takes about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. This other tool, which I can also use if I forget this home, I can also use, this is a hawk, a trail hawk, a cold steel trail hawk. I've made some modifications to it, so it looks a little different than the one you'll see on their website. I grayed out the metal and I cleaned the metal up, and I stained this handle after I cleaned it up, and then I put beeswax, natural beeswax on it, and it makes it grippy so that it's non-slip. But I can certainly lift this lid with my hawk if I don't have my normal lid lifter. So we'll come back to this. I'll do a separate video, but these are some of my favorite tools. Kilt is a favorite thing to garden in and camp in, and these are tools I have with me as well. All right, so just right now, I'm going to take advantage of being on the earth, and I'm going to remove the rubber-soled shoes, and we'll continue our walk around the property. Okay, so here we are. This is a beautiful young cherry tree, and I'm not sure that you'll see this on the camera. It's probably too far away, but this cherry tree has been grafted with 3 different types of cherries. Now that's important to us because this is a self-pollinating fruit tree, and that comes in really handy when you get bad weather, when the blossoms are out. You can see here, over here, down here, that we have the blossoms just finishing, and we are setting fruit on. And again, I don't think you can see it, but there's a cherry. That's what a really baby cherry looks like. And there's one over here, and they're starting to set on. So that's really cool. So I think probably as a tool to provide food, nutritious, organic food for my family, cherries are a wonderful treat. This is self-pollinating. 3 different types of cherries on the same tree. Plant it once. It feeds you 3 different types of berries for decades. My type of gardening. Okay. Okay, so here we have, this is a 4x4 raised bed. Nothing spectacular about it. But I wanted to show you this. So last year I planted a red potato. And I didn't plant them all. I had some small potatoes left over, and I had put them in my cold room down in the basement, put them in a cardboard box, put a couple of sheets of newspaper over them, and quite frankly, forgot about them. So I was out and roaming around the garden early this spring before there was much going on, and I thought, do I have to buy seed potato this year, or do I maybe have some? So I went downstairs, went to the cold room, dug out the cardboard box, brought it outside, and lo and behold, all the little potatoes, and they were fairly little, had sprouted. And because it was a dark cold room, the sprouts had come up like, 8-9 inches. So I thought, I've never grown potatoes that way before, and it was really early, and I didn't know if the tops would get hit by frost and killed back. So anyway, I planted them all, and I'll show you. I've got another bed down there, and then I planted some in the hugelkultur bed, so we'll see that as we move. So these have all flowered out now. Again, this is the last day of May in Canada, so it's been cold. We've been getting frosts. It's really warm today, but look at these potatoes. They are just flourishing. Who knew? Anyway, that might be a technique. All I did was I took the little potatoes out, I left the sprouts on them, I cut them in half, I stuck them in the ground with the sprouts sticking out, and the potatoes have obviously rooted because now I have all this growth on here. So, wow, a fast way to get new potatoes in June in Canada, unheard of. Anyway, that's cool. Just swing over here, and let's take a look at this. So here, if you can see this, and I'm not in the road or in the sunlight, this is a sea buckthorn plant, and we have 3 of them, and this is a female, the one in the middle is a male, and the one over there is a female, and you need 1 male for about every female plant. And this is I don't know, most people probably would think a thorn bush is not very attractive, but I think these are beautiful. Now, they're thorny and sharp, but this is a beautiful green, grayish color underneath and a darker green up top, and you can harvest these leaves and make a really nice healthy tea, so this is a medicinal plant. And also the females, and these ones, it doesn't look like these ones are going to set on berries this year because they're young, but they produce a small yellow orangish berry, about the size of my little finger, a little bit bigger, that are just loaded in antioxidants and vitamin C, and in a couple of berries there's more vitamin C than in a whole orange. So from a standpoint of being regenerative from living longer and in wellness, this is one of the plants that we can grow. They're very hardy. They come from China, the mountains in Tibet. They can stand a lot of cold weather. They grow in marginal soil, heavy clay here. They don't need to really be taken care of a whole lot. And the berries, when these bushes are a little bigger and they're a little more mature, the berries just grow in big clumps. And so you can snip that off, because that'll grow back, and take the berries, put them in the freezer overnight, get up the next morning, shake the frozen berries off, and then you juice them, and then inside of the seeds is an oil. So if I run it through my juicer, I can get the pulp out that I feed my birds, my chickens, and I would have the juice and the oil from the seeds, and we would make smoothies out of that. And perhaps add things like wheatgrass juice and goat's milk and that kind of thing to make a really rich, super medicinal drink in the morning time.